just for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Tony Basilio here, and I got the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance 2026. Chad, do you believe we've made it?
Boys and girls teams start off the new year at big national event showcases. We got our younger kids training indoors and doing a lot of things to get better. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Chad, I hear the juice behind you. I hear the kids. Your program reaches throughout East Tennessee. If folks want to get involved, what's the advice?
We're easy to get in touch with. We offer players at all ages, all levels, all experience. We have a program for all of our kids that we have, and we're excited for anyone to join us.
And even some Lady Vols as well. Several college players all over the country, yes?
Absolutely. We had a lot of girls that we were able to watch play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of our former players made big runs through the tournament. We're so excited for them.
Growing the beautiful game in this, the year of the World Cup in North America. Celebrate the beautiful game. Get your child involved. FCAllianceKnox.org. That's FCAllianceKnox.org. And Chad, thank you, man. Keep growing the beautiful game.
Absolutely, Tony, and thank you very much.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. Like our 2026 football Vols, score a T3TD every time with T3 Vodka, Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. Right here, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Quality around here isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. And T3's filtered 10 times. 80 proof of vodka delivering a smoothness unmatched. This dedication to excellence has earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades, like a 5-time gold medal award-winning vodka and your SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner as well. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka, your choice for a premium award-winning experience. Be like Maury Hanks. Score a T3TD. Ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, and score a T3TD all 2026 long. Tennessee's Premium Vodka. T3, Tennessee's Premium Vodka. Distributed by Empire Distributors of Tennessee.
Big news, Basilio family. Get ready, because the 2026 Knoxville real estate market is officially shifting into high gear. All signs are pointing toward a record-breaking year, and the energy across East Tennessee is absolutely electric right now. Whether you've been dreaming of finding that next home, looking to capitalize on your current equity, or ready to dive into the investment world, the timing has never been better. Having a game plan is the key to winning in this fast-paced market, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, Jennifer Morris, at 865-6 694-5904 or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
You know, I'm a little over time. I want to apologize to my main man, William Pattison, in the Playbook. Sorry.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
And here we go. Live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios, it's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. With Jackson Freeman, Will Palumbo, and Brett Hullander, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And boy, do we have plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including continuing to add and discuss to our transfer portal board. We have a couple of visitors that have officially been confirmed and now out in the public so we can discuss it. We'll tell you those two guys and how they have a tie to the Tennessee staff. I'll also give a new prediction for a player that has been deemed in the high priority list over the week, how I feel like that is going at this point in the game, and also a couple of other radar names to know as we continue through the transfer portal week. It's a lot of fun, a lot of names to know, a lot to discuss. We'll get into it all. We'll also talk about the Lady Vols side of things, as Tennessee is set to host a number of transfers this weekend from some Power 4 schools. We'll tell you their names and what they bring to the table. In addition to me responding to Coach Yo at Ole Miss. A little bit of a crazy day on Twitter for me yesterday. It was a lot of great praise, and I appreciate Russ and Bob from the drive for a couple of shouts. Helped out with some traction, but also gained some traction from some Ole Miss folks because Coach Yo did not like my speculation or raising of a question regarding around Talasia Cooper's recruitment. I really didn't think it was that bad or that ridiculous of a question to raise. However, she clearly took offense to it. She did a whole 4-minute video just about 30 seconds after while she was driving her vehicle. Now,
it's a little dangerous.
A little dangerous, but that's okay. Hey, all praise, or excuse me, all publicity is good publicity. I'm not upset.
Didn't deny
about
anything either, though.
Well, yes, clearly did not deny anything. But I wasn't really poking at her specifically. I just was asking the questions if there was a deeper meaning behind an infamous handshake that never had any resolution. Regardless,
it worked.
Yeah. Regardless, we'll discuss that later. I'll respond to Coach Yo in a respectful manner, of course, and then we'll continue to discuss all things portal board for the Lady Vols. And also it's the Masters. Masters week is officially here. I guess it's been here for a little bit, but now they're fully underway in Augusta. Brett repping his Masters hat today. Good look,
I know.
Brett.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Don't do hats very often.
Yeah.
Appropriate time.
I'm not a hat guy myself, but I do appreciate
you
a
got
good
the
hat.
flow. That's why.
I know. Too much flow these days. All right, well, let's flow into our first things first topic. But before we do so, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Jackson. Not a whole lot of flow from him these days, but it's still a sharp haircut. Jackson, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I used to have quite the flow back around my freshman year of college is when I cut it. But it was down to my shoulders. I was pretty impressed with it. I still think about it sometimes and miss it, but yeah, I don't know. I've been enjoying this Twitter stuff between Mike Vrabel and what's her first name? Yeah,
Diana
Rossini. That's
wild
some
too.
Crazy stuff, and there might be stuff that goes back like 10 years ago with her. So that's.
Hey, you got to work your way up.
Maybe you should try doing it by being good at your job.
You not like Diana Rossini?
Well, I mean, this might point to why a lot of her stuff seems fabricated, but she doesn't really seem to have a whole lot of accurate sources.
Interesting.
She just kind of reports stuff. I was doing air quotes for those. Well, no one can see me, but she'll just. I mean, I got to say it's really interesting that the two teams she was talking about being involved with AJ Brown are two head coaches she is now accused of having an affair with. So that's always interesting.
Well, hey, at least my point of view is she might have just a really good inside scoop.
That is almost never correct.
Well, from those two coaches, it seems
know,
about that's as close as you can get to them with a relationship.
Yeah.
But
the Patriots in a scandal? No way.
Yeah, I know there have been a lot of Patriots jabs.
Patriot way, man.
Will, to you, how are you?
I'm doing
Speaking
good.
of the Pats,
yeah, I mean,
you're a fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I grew up. I was born up there, so I kind of. It's not even a top 5 Patriot scandal for the past 10 years, you could say. But
That's
it's
true.
funny. I've been following it on Twitter too. I've been seeing a couple clips that came up of her just like bashing her husband from a couple years ago.
Yeah, that
It's really
was
rough,
yeah. I
but-
played that audio yesterday. That was brutal.
But I'm a big Masters guy as well, a big golfer, so I'm repping my Pinehurst Polo right now.
There you go.
Watched it this morning with some nice breakfast, so that's pretty good. And just looking at the transfer portal now.
Are you, Brett and Will, are you guys okay with what they're doing with the Masters?
No.
Like,
You're talking about Kevin Hart and
I'm talking about
Jason
the
Kelsey?
Kelseys, the Kevin
Oh,
Hart.
no, it's terrible.
I'm not really a fan
The
of it.
Miz.
The new, like, the hats they're selling, the shirts, it just all seems very not Masters.
Yeah.
Not traditional.
Yeah, I think Masters is like the longest standing tradition that
It
there
is.
has been in golf. So I think it's kind of not really necessarily ruining the tournament, but definitely degrading it, I would say. Just kind of putting it on like an ESPN level scale, and it's just I don't really enjoy it. But they still have some traditions that they're
The
holding
par 3 is
strong
supposed to be intimate family, and they're getting out here with, and it's Bryson doing it. So it's like, you know, he's been all over the media and how they like him or don't like him, but it's just more intimate, and they're making it a little bit of a circus with these comedians and Kelsey and, you know, and then they had the Miz, I think, on there today as well. It's just, what are we doing? You know,
No, I agree.
it's not like it needs any extra boost, and I don't know. It's sad to see, really, but still a great tournament, great event. My favorite and also, but yeah, it's sad to see them turn into that. And I love Kevin Hart. I don't mind Kevin Hart. I don't mind Kelsey talking football, but why are we putting him on a par 3 contest in a jumper or whatever that thing is he's wearing?
No,
it's sad, man.
I agree. Look, I don't have a favorite golfer, and I don't watch the Masters for a specific player.
Yeah.
But I watch it on Sunday because I enjoy the presentation from CBS and the type of broadcasting that is performed. I think it's one of the best of the year annually, and that's why I watch. And that there's not, Jim Nantz isn't up there jumping through hula hoops and jumping in the water, and it's calming, it's professional. So I don't like the way they've done it either. But again, ESPN finds every way to find a way to put Jason Kelsey into something. I'm not a Jason Kelsey guy. I'm not many of those personalities. I do think McAfee does provide some energy to College Game Day, which I think you need on an early morning show.
And that's different.
But again,
yeah,
most of those guys, not my expert, not my thing.
Yeah.
But especially for an event like this, let's put that to the side. You're welcome to do that at the Waste Management. That feels like it's a more suitable.
I mean, guys are out there with
tournament.
their like kids and wives and girlfriends. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
grown ass men doing that stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, outside of that, Brett, how are you?
Good, man. I told you I thought I did my ankle the other night, and I was feeling fine yesterday, and I got home last night after a full day being on it, and sure enough, black and blue and swollen.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm dealing with a little bit of a injured ankle, I guess you could say right now. I didn't even realize anything. I kept playing, I'm tough, but yeah, dealing with that. But other than that, I'm doing well, and I'm here, and looking forward to talking to a lot of news overnight and again this morning. So looking forward to talking about Day. Whatever his name, Day. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Day Ames.
Day. I don't know.
Might have to put you on a minutes restriction though, if you're a little sore. Maybe questionable to return tomorrow. I don't know.
I know. I'm gonna battle through, man.
Is that from Men's League, Brett?
Yeah, I did it. I jinxed myself that night though. I did it to myself. So, but yeah, it's tough, but Benison, ibuprofen, all the stuff they tell you to do. So I'll be back in no time.
Well, good stuff. All right. Well, hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Glad you could make it today.
My mouth still works.
There you go. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's get into it. Our first things first topic today is the Tennessee Transfer Portal Board for the Volunteers basketball team. And if you're on that YouTube chat, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't ever miss any Fan Run content, and especially important this time of year. Also get active in that comment section. Let us know what you think about many of these portal targets and visitors, and if there's a guy on your radar that we should know about, that you believe should be in the interest of Tennessee. But we'll begin with our new segment today, and that's the visitors. And we'll begin with center Miles Rubin out of Loyola Chicago. We discussed him yesterday as a name to know. And he's a 6'10", 220-pound center who started in all 33 games in 2025 and averaged a team-leading 11.3 points and 7.1 rebounds per game for the Ramblers. The Chicago, Illinois native shot 58.5% from the field and became the program's all-time leader in blocks with 237 over the course of his career. Now, the negative here is he did shoot 54.3% from the free throw line. Don't love that, but overall, his numbers are pretty strong, and was kind of crunching some stuff last night. It almost feels like he's a budget version of a lot of these other players that are going to be high-dollar prospects, like a Flory Badunga from Kansas. Like, you stack up Rubin's numbers and efficiency metrics and advanced stats compared to a guy like Badunga, who's going to be about $2 million more. Rubin is a really nice alternative for Tennessee basketball. So I like him. And then a guy that we have not discussed yet this week due to what I was told to not talk about, but I guess it now has come out this morning, so we will discuss it, is Day-Day Ames from California. He's a guard, and he stands at 6'2". He's also from Chicago, Illinois. And he averaged 16.9 points, 2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists this past season for the Golden Bears. He ranked in the 91st percentile in usage rate this past year. And we've discussed that metric a ton. Jacoby Gillespie was a player very high up in that stat as well. But the Cal transfer also played for Kansas State and Virginia in his career. And the connecting piece here is very interesting. It's Tennessee assistant coach Amaro Morgan, who has ties to both of the portal players headed to Knoxville this weekend, as he recruited Loyola Chicago center Miles Rubin out of high school, and he recruited Day-Day Ames to California out of the transfer portal last offseason before joining the Tennessee staff in May of 2025. He spent 2 seasons with Loyola Chicago from 2021 to 2023 and did the same with Cal from 2023 to 2025, and was obviously a new member of Tennessee staff this year. But a nice connection, and so far, so good. 2 guys that I believe are starting level players out of the transfer portal, and kind of just a touching on both of them. Rubin has a lot of the same and similar characteristics as a Felix Akpara. Really good rebounder, really good lob threat, really good dunker. That's kind of what you need at that position. And again, I made the comparison just a second ago. Flory Badunga from Kansas, one of the most highly coveted players in the portal, and Miles Rubin have pretty similar numbers and metrics and advanced stats. I know the competition is different, but this is the type of stuff you need to find. Guys that are going to save you $2 million so you can go out elsewhere and maybe get in a bidding war with a Juke Harris, or maybe wait for a guy to enter the portal or such. Whatever it may be, I like Miles Rubin. I think it's a nice way to approach the portal if you don't want to go big-time spending for a guy like a Bryson Tiller or a Badunga. Now, for Day-Day Ames, this guy's a scorer. And you go watch his tape, it's going to be pretty exciting. I think out of all of the guys that Tennessee is high up in terms of the priority list with, Day-Day Ames has a really nice sheet to look at, because he's a combo guard, he's a scorer, and he's a guy that can go get a bucket. And at the end of the day, Tennessee needs guys like that. If he's your starting point guard, he's your starting point guard. I'd like him more at the 2, playing alongside another point guard, but you've got options in the portal still to go. I'd like him at a 2, but that directly reflects and helps out Tyler Lundblade. That directly affects the point guard play, and now you're forming around the perimeter a solid group of playmakers. You've got your shot creator and a Day-Day Ames. You go get a point guard, and you've got your sharpshooter with Lundblade. So again, we've been discussing throughout the weeks, folks, it's all about forming that roster, forming that starting five. I think Day-Day Ames could play that point guard position, but I do look at him more as a shooting guard, and that would be the primary spot for him in my hypothetical perfect world for the Volunteers moving forward. But two guys to know about. Amaro Morgan has direct reflection, or I guess a direct correlation with both of these guys. Good relationship with both, helped recruit them, and now they're coming to Knoxville this weekend like both these kids. But Will, to you, what do you make of Rubin and what do you make of Ames, and which one sticks out a little bit more?
Yeah, so obviously both of them I think would be great for our system. Starting with Miles Rubin, I think he's just like you just said, I think he's very similar to a Felix Okpara type player. I mean, 237 career blocks, that's great. I think he plays pretty vertical, but necessarily he doesn't spread out wide, right? Like you said, his field goal percentage isn't great inside, but he's definitely a lob threat and he's great at some putbacks. Obviously, his rebounding presence isn't as strong as you would like. I mean, only 7 rebounds a game. It's a little less than Okpara, I believe. But obviously, he still boxes out well and he's strong on the glass. But then you kind of just worried about how limited he is offensively. Like Felix Okpara, there's no real perimeter game. And his free throw shooting, 54%, is obviously not the greatest, but I think you could still use him well in some pick and roll systems and just being a lob threat like that. So I kind of look at Day-Day Ames as more of a guy I'm touting towards. I mean, he's a really pure scorer, I think. I totally agree with you that I think he would be much better at the 2 because he's he's a shot creator and he takes a lot of them, right? He attacks off the dribble, creates his own shot, and I mean, he can score at the rim, mid-range pull-ups, and on the perimeter. He's a score-first guard, right? So you don't necessarily want him at that one spot. I really view the one spot as a guy that can kind of facilitate this offense, especially if you put a guy like Rubin in at the 5, you're going to need a guy who can dish the ball to him down low. But, I mean, obviously he's got a lot of confidence. He's a great volume shooter, so I think he'd be great. Both these guys would be great for our team.
Brett, to you, what do you make of Rubin and Day-Day Ames?
I think I'm more excited about the Rubin. Bigs are, I think our strength and what we do in the portal and look for and things like that. It looks like he's got the versatility because we like to switch everything. So I think he can guard on the perimeter like Felix did. You like the blocking ability and things like that. So I think I'm more excited about him. I went back and forth all morning on Day-Day Ames. He just seems like a guy he constantly needs the ball. I just wonder how he is off the ball if you guys are talking about possibly as a 2. So I wonder how he plays without the ball. A 91% usage rate is quite high. That sounds really point guard, but then only 2 assists a game. So he really has to put the ball up. So you just wonder what the team aspect. Now, not saying Barnes can't coach a guy up like this. Hey, you come here. This is what we're thinking. He's bounced around, so he hasn't had stable coaching. He's kind of been all over the map as far as that goes. So you just wonder where he is mentally and things like that. So I just wonder about him being in that, where he can play off the ball a little bit more. So I do worry about him. I just think Rubin's a guy you plug in immediately for Felix, and I think the transition's almost seamless with a guy like that. And if you miss on this one, there are numerous bigs in the portal. I think the bigs are almost a bigger strength than maybe some of the guards are. So I think you can find there, but if you were to land this Rubin guy, I think I'd be more excited out of the 2 of them as we sit here today.
Jackson, what about you? Out of these 2, which one piques your interest the most?
Honestly, probably Miles Rubin, just because you need a center.
Yeah.
Really bad. Do we have one in the room?
Well, you got Dwayne Brown, the second returning.
Yeah, Dwayne Brown, that's it. You really need to attack that position. So, I know Rick Barnes can find a guard I'm really not good at talking basketball.
No, you're good.
I know Rick Barnes can find someone who can score for you. He's shown that the last 3 years with Dalton Connect, Chaz Lanier, and Jacoby Gillespie. So I'm not really worried about that. But finding someone who can make an impact in the paint, that's got to be your first go-to.
Yeah, and for a team that loses a ton of talent and a ton of members from last year's team, it's important to fill those spots. And one of them, Felix Okpara, was one of the most valuable members of the Tennessee team this past season. And finding a guy to try and fill that role, some big shoes to fill, by the way, but finding a 6'10" guy out of Chicago, Illinois. He might have the right shoe size to fit those shoes that Okpara will leave. But we'll switch now to the priority targets. A little bit of a change up today as I now start to forecast how I believe some of these targets are heading for the Volunteers. We'll begin with Thomas Dowd. He continues to be a priority target for Tennessee. 6'8", was a first-team All-Sun Belt Conference pick this past season when he scored 14.4 points per game and led the conference with an average of 10.1 rebounds. He's from Dothan, Alabama. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining, and he helped lead the Trojans to back-to-back Sun Belt championships and NCAA tournament appearances. But there is another team in the state of Alabama, also in the SEC, that is after him as well. And you know, the portal process is very fluid, which means maybe a couple of days ago, I felt like Tennessee was in a really strong position for him, and a couple of days expire, and now you're kind of in a battle with him. But I still considered Thomas Dowd a high priority target for the Volunteers. Next up, Najee Hines out of Seton Hall, the 6'10" forward, averaged 6.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks for the Pirates this past season. He's another interior threat, similar to a Miles Rubin, that is going to be a potential Felix Okpara replacement. And a lot of people that I've looked around in terms of transfer portal analysis and advanced metrics, a lot of people value Hines much higher than his current standing in the portal rankings. But Hines is another player Tennessee is closely looking at, and he's also got a lot of interest from other teams, so it's going to be a competitive market, but still considered a priority target. Now we get to this next new, how do I want to phrase it? Next new level. We'll call it a next new tier. Yeah, I guess tier is the correct word too. Next new tier. We'll use Brett's term. Bidding war. Juke Harris out of Wake Forest, a guard/wing. 6'7", averaged 21.4 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.9 assists per game this past season for the Demon Deacons, while shooting 44.4% from the field and 33.2% from three. He was an All-ACC member, in addition to being the ACC's most improved player this past season, and he considered Tennessee at a high school. He's debating the NBA waters, but also has a ton of big-time suitors coming after him. Michigan at the top of the list.
And just, isn't Day-Day, is he doing the NBA too? Did I read that, or am I wrong on that? Do I need to look that up?
That would be news to me.
Okay, I'll double-check. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good.
Yeah, I heard that, and I thought him, but I'll look him up.
Yeah, I don't believe that he would be looking there.
But that would be.
We do have some breaking news for the Lady Vols here in a moment. But Tennessee's going to be a bidding war with this guy, and it's going to be very competitive. Michigan obviously has a war chest of NIL funds, and there are some other big-name teams in North Carolina.
He is testing the waters.
Oh, he is? Day-Day is?
2 days ago. Yeah, Joe Tipton 2 days ago said plans to enter the transfer portal and test the NBA waters. So, but we'll see. But, yeah.
Okay. But Juke Harris, going to be a competitive market for him, a bidding war for his talents.
Why doesn't Rick Barnes have a treasure chest or treasure trove of NIL?
Well, Michigan's just got a lot of big-time donors that are willing to clock in at the drop of a hat. For example, Barstool Sports, and I don't even know that. I don't watch that stuff, but
hey, it'd be nice if Haslam would buy us a team.
Well, it'd be nice to buy a team, period. But the problem with Tennessee is we've discussed a ton. There are a lot of teams on campus that are really good, and there are a lot of efforts that have to be expanded there. But Harris is going to be competitive. I still consider Tennessee in the mix for him, but I don't consider him on the same level of maybe a Day-Day Ames or a Miles Rubin in terms of how closely Tennessee is integrated with them. He's supposed to visit Michigan this weekend. That could end up being what seals the deal for Tennessee in terms of his recruitment. But a bidding war, how does that sound? Not good to me. Out of these priority targets, Dowd, Hines, and Harris, Will, how do you reflect or I guess react, I should say, to the news about the bidding war between Harris and between Tennessee and other teams for Harris? And then outside of those other couple of guys, who do you look at?
Well, obviously, I mean, Juke Harris, I think he's probably the best pure scorer in the transfer portal, right? So I think everybody's going to be looking at him. He's kind of like a guy you just plug in and he's your number one option right away, right? So I don't really think we have a chance if we're competing against schools like Michigan. So I'll kind of focus on I like Thomas Dowd a lot. I think he'd be great for our team. I mean, he's a double-double machine. 14 points a game plus 10 rebounds as a forward is pretty impressive, especially in college. And I think he's just a guy that kind of fits into Rick Barnes' system, right? Rick Barnes, the identity of this team is always defense, rebounding, and physicality, which I think he does exceptionally well. He's also made great jumps from year to year. I think he's gone up about 5 points per game after every year. And I mean, he's the type of guy you want on your team. I think he can score and he can also rebound well, which is just really beneficial to us. I like Hines as well too. Obviously, you said he's kind of going under the radar. I think he's had a great end of the season. He played great games against St. John's and UConn to end the year. And I really like Thomas Dowd though for our team, I think.
Yeah, a couple of good names, Hines, Dowd, Harris, all really impressive players. But Brett, to you, when I say there's a bidding war expected to go down between Tennessee and amongst other teams for Harris's talents, how does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, he's a really good basketball player. So when you're getting in these waters with these good basketball players, you're going to have a lot of good teams after him. It's just whether you're going to go the extra mile. Does a relationship you had with Juke Harris, does that help you any in these situations to where you can get at least get a visit out of him? You obviously worry about him visiting Michigan, and like we saw in football, guys go to places first. They don't tend to come see you. So we'll see how it goes. But you obviously don't like going in, those deep waters with Michigan when you clearly know that if they got the money, they're defending national champs. They need the players, kind of like we do. You got to expect them to have a lot of roster turnover as well. So, I'm sure we have our number that we'll go to Juke for, but it may not be good enough. But this at least I want to see us doing. I want us to see if we can get in on some of these guys because these are the good players in this portal. And if you have the money to spend, don't just waste it on the second tier. Try and get the first tier at first and then move on from there. But yeah, this one's going to be a tough one. Once you saw Michigan involved, you just figured, it might be time to move on and find that next crop of, really good scores in this portal.
Well, when we come back, we've got some breaking news for the Lady Vols. A new commit in the boat for Kim Caldwell. We'll tell you who it is and what she'll bring to the table for this Lady Vols team when we return right here on the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics. They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia, courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys, every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
The voluntary reaction.
Can't get enough Tennessee basketball? Join Fan Run Radio as soon as every UT game is over for Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all. The voluntary reaction. We'll be taking your calls on the Vols as soon as every game is over. So tune in and buckle up as we drink from the keg of glory all the way to the Final Four.
The voluntary reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
Now we're good. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. So
I had it muted coming back in.
No, you're good. For our YouTube stream, breaking news for the Lady Vols, Naomi White has officially committed to Tennessee from Northern Arizona, averaged 20.8 points per game, was the leading freshman scorer at the Division I level this past year, 5'7" guard, becomes the second player to commit in this transfer portal cycle for Kim Caldwell. It's a tall task for Kimmy. She's got to put together a completely new team, but a second player in the boat, and White shot around 37% from three this past year. Avery Mills out of Liberty was in the 42 to 43% range for the season. So if you're trying to find girls that fit your identity, you've at least found two so far. There's plenty of work to be done, and we'll talk more about those visitors for this weekend here in a moment, but another one in the boat. It's a part of the process, and we'll see if Naomi White can make that jump to the SEC level coming from Northern Arizona. It is going to be a concern for me, but at least she can put up points at a high level, and you saw it over the course of the season, and she's a player that has multiple years of eligibility remaining. If Caldwell wants to stick around, you need players like this to be a part of your nucleus. Naomi White makes it official. Will, to you, any thoughts on Naomi White making it a done deal with Tennessee basketball?
It's obviously good to see some players sign for this team, right? I think it's nice that she scores 20 a game, but you do question that, can you make the transfer from Northern Arizona to an SEC schedule, right? We mentioned the gap there is in skill level, especially among conferences at the women's basketball level, right? And the size does worry me. I mean, being 5'7", we saw it with Paldo this year. Obviously, Paldo probably didn't shoot as well from three as White does, but I think it's just good. I think it's good to at least see that Kim is getting girls that she is that fits into her system well, that she has had some success in. Now, obviously not necessarily at this type level in the SEC, but it's just, I think it's good to see some players starting to believe in her and join this team. So I think hopefully some more to come.
Now, a couple of people on the YouTube chat chiming in, and thank you for letting us know about the audio. David Speaks says mid-major players in women's basketball a lot different than mid-majors, and I would agree. And I think the thing for Tennessee is, well, you don't really have much of a choice. Now, the ones coming in this weekend are Power 4 level players, which is where you want to be, and we'll talk more about those here in a moment. But, I mean, at some point, you can't really be picky of if this person or this player is a starter or if this is a bench player. You just got to get players, period, and at least to find one that can put up points at a high level and do so pretty efficiently. So, Naomi White, again, is a start. There's a lot more work left to do. But, Brett, to you, what do you make about that jump from Northern Arizona to Tennessee? Is a mid-major player going to be able to come in to Knoxville and be an impactful player up against the LSUs, South Carolinas, UConns of the world? I think I might have just answered the question by laying it out to you, but I'll let you give your fair share.
I mean, I guess you're going to find out. I don't know. Like it's tough to make it. Now with the men's game, you can see the translation. You really haven't seen it the women's as much, but I mean, a lot of times, freshman guards come in and out of high school, and they come in, and we see them come into the SEC, and they do quite well. ESPN lists her at 5'9". If she was 5'7", I'd be a little bit more worried. So I don't know exactly how tall she is. I know the Paldos were like 5'6", and you could see the dramatic difference in their size compared to some of the guards they won against. So if she's closer to 5'9", I feel a little better. I mean, that's a big difference. But yeah, I mean, she played like 40 minutes a game, so she's got the energy. She seems to probably, they say she's one of the quicker guards in her conference. So we'll see how that translates. So, I mean, this is where Kim is. She's put herself in this position where she's going to have to go out and get girls that may or may not be able to play at this level. I mean, it's worth a try. A girl that's 15th overall in the country in scoring. Obviously she was taking like 20 shots a game, so that'll cut back. But yeah, I mean, it's worth a try, and we'll see. Some of these girls just have maybe she got under recruited or something like that, and so she's got a chip on her shoulder. So, this is what you're hoping for Kim, and it's like that, find lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
David Speaks says, I saw where there was the third leading scorer from the NC State team that beat us is looking at Tennessee as well.
Zamira somebody.
Yes.
Zamira Jones.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, Zamira Jones. I think
she went for like 30 against us in the NCAA tournament, I believe.
Yeah, and we talked about her on that either Thursday or Friday broadcast when we were at Barley's.
I haven't heard much about her recently, though.
Well, two names, at least for certain, though, we know that are headed to Tennessee this weekend. That's Florida's Layla Reynolds and Virginia Tech's Mackenzie Nelson, set to take visits to Rocky Top this weekend. Reynolds is a 6'1" guard who averaged 12.1 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.9 assists for the Gators last season. And then Nelson is a 5'8" guard who averaged 8 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 5.7 assists for the Hokies. So you've got a playmaker with Nelson, and then you've got a bigger guard with Reynolds who put up 12 points a night. I like these two players because they're at least coming from the Power 4 level. Mm-hmm. Florida, a solid team over the last 5-10 years in women's college basketball. Obviously, they've made some changes to the coaching staff, but clearly a player that can play at an SEC level. Nelson might not wow you with the 8 points a night, but I look at the 6 assists as a big plus because, ultimately, if you want to have a lot of three-point shooters, you've got to have a guard that can, drive inside, draw attention, and dish it out at an extremely efficient rate. And she did that for the Hokies last year. So, again, as you try to fill out your roster, you can't really be picky of who you keep and who you decide to let walk because you'll take anyone at this point. So Reynolds and Nelson, 2 visitors this weekend that are confirmed. Now, there is some gray area revolving around a Texas transfer, to my understanding, but she's not officially on the books at this point, so kind of have to wait that out. But
Jordan Lee's her name.
Yeah, Jordan Lee, yes. What do you make of Reynolds and Nelson, though, Brett? Any of them stick out? I think Reynolds is a solid option at 6'1".
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you just gonna have to. You got to have some power for girls in there, some the bigger girls and taller girls and things like that. So yeah, the Reynolds girl is definitely intriguing, and obviously I think that'd be a good fit if you could pull her, and then maybe the other. I think there's another big, maybe from Georgia as well. Obviously, you just signed on the Georgia coach, so hopefully these couple coaches have some ties with girls in the portal that can bring some girls in as well. But yeah, I mean, I think you pull on these girls, especially the girl from Florida, would be a nice addition to a team that needs some Power 4 experience for sure.
Any thoughts, Will, on any of these Lady Vols targets? And even if you don't, what should be the mindset for Caldwell moving forward here? Who do you need to add if you're trying to be competitive in a really good SEC?
Well, I think obviously you need to add some Power 4 talent, but like you said earlier, I mean, at this point, any players is really good to build this team. Obviously, I think you could definitely probably scrap a couple of just probably bench players from these smaller SEC teams that necessarily are young or just didn't get the opportunity because of how good those teams really are. But I mean, I like Reynolds a lot too. 12 points a game at a proven program like Florida, it's a lot better than Northern Arizona, right? And then Nelson, I agree. I like what you said about her too. 6 assists, I feel like, is a great number for especially women's college basketball, especially in our system with her size. I think she can be utilized well in this offense. It's just depends on how many players. There's still about 8 or 9 more players you still need to sign. So at this point, you're really just kind of hoping anybody takes a visit. But it's glad to see that these two have some experience that you can actually count on.
Are White and Mills starting level players, do you believe, Brett?
Today, yes.
On this current team, they are the only two.
I really do. I think especially the girl you just got. I think Naomi Watt has the potential to be your starting 2 guard, possibly. Mills is too, but I like the idea of this girl. She's played a lot of minutes, and she seems to be, a 2-level scorer. Likes to get out in transition and push the ball, and I think that suits the system that Kim's wanting to do. But I think Mills is going to have an important role too. I think she has the ability to start as well, depending on what else you do. Both are very accomplished in where they've played. They're all conference players. So yeah, I think, but I lean White just a hair more than Mills right now.
Well, 2 players in the boat for Kim Caldwell and company. A couple more set to take a visit this weekend as she tries to do the unthinkable, Kim Possible, literally, this season because you've lost about everyone. And tall task, but kind of put it on yourself. Now you're going to have to dig yourself out of the hole, and at least she's found 2 players early in this portal process that have decided to commit, but a lot of work left to be done. A former Lady Vol, however, also found a new home yesterday, and it's Ole Miss. Talasia Cooper, one of my favorite players during the time of covering the Lady Vols over the last couple of years. She's headed to Ole Miss, and Coach Yo had a little bit of a clapback to me about a question I lobbied on yesterday's show in addition to social media. I'll talk about that when we return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. NoxvilleSmiles.com.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, now we're good.
Okay, back on. Talking Coach Yo yesterday, she kind of clapped back at me on Twitter. And the reason why I had some thoughts was Jalasia Cooper enters the portal, enters with a no contact tag, commits within 36 hours. So I wanted to go back to that interaction between Coach Yo and Kim Caldwell and ask, was there something going on here? Did Coach Caldwell know something during the time that made her be a little bit, maybe not, I'll just say unprofessional. I didn't like the way she approached that post-game interaction. I thought it was unprofessional. But there was nothing over the course of that game that would have led to that. There was no fight. There was no animosity. The two coaches like each other. Or at least that's what Coach Yo said in the post-game press conference. So I lobbied what was really behind that handshake. Was it the possible tampering of Jalasia Cooper? Coach Yo took offense to that. And I've got to pull it up real quick here. But Coach Yo somehow found William Pattison on Twitter and decided to respond, basically refuting my lobbying of a question and said, quote, "Can you all please stop with this tired narrative? Find another way to cope. Please," with a number of exclamation marks, that is, "just yapping." So now I've got a ton of Ole Miss people in my mentions saying I'm a loser and a number of other things, but whatever, it's okay. I just asked a question. I'm a journalist. I'm a media guy. I ask questions. And I asked a question regarding a very infamous post-game interaction between two coaches that we never got a resolution on. And I asked a question. I always have liked Coach Yo. Every time we've talked about the Rebels, I've always said she's a great coach, knows what she's doing. She's recruited at a high level. She did it at JSU and has done the same thing in the SEC. It's no stray to her. I just asked a question. But she clearly got offended by it. But also, I will note, she didn't deny it. She didn't say anything.
Kim didn't do it with anybody else. A cold shoulder.
Well, then
poor handshake.
30 minutes later, after that tweet, she then put out a 5-minute video, probably in light of me. So I'm jealous. I'm jealous. You know, she's out there recruiting and talking about William Patterson. Okay. She was talking about, well, I've done this at JSU. I've done this at Ole Miss. I don't debate that. But I asked a question. Was there something going on that led to this? How did Talasia Cooper enter the portal, enter with the no contact tag, and have a commitment 36 hours in? All seems pretty fishy, unless it was just love at first sight, but it seemed a little fishy to me, and it still does. So, Coach O, I apologize for asking a question. I don't think it was that big of a deal.
I agree.
What do you guys make of it? We discussed it a little bit yesterday because I lobbied it on here as well. Do you guys think there was something behind that, or do you think that truthfully just Talasia Cooper found a new spot in 36 hours?
I mean, we got our butts beat by a lot of teams. She could have been pissed off at a lot of coaches and gave a cold shoulder. You know, it was from what I remember, it was a fairly competitive game all the way to the end. I think they won by like 10 against us, and you know, and things like that. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't know. It just seemed it's like I said yesterday. It's very ironic that, you know, I don't think anything you said was wrong. And again, she didn't deny anything, you know, and you know, Kim went on to have a rough season and a lot of tough moments, but you know, like everything was after the game. She was very cordial with a lot of other coaches and things like that. And, you know, like I don't know. And I didn't remember anything in the game being, you know, weird or anything else that would cause the friction between the two, you know, and things like that. So I don't know. Cooper's an Ole Miss girl now. I mean, we move on from this, and she said you said we've all said our 2 cents. She said her 2 cents, and let's go play basketball.
Let's do it. Will, what do you make of it? Was Coach Yo in the right for calling me out, saying that it was a narrative I'm running with? I thought I just asked a question, but what do you make of it?
I thought obviously you were just asking a question. I mean, it's very doable, and you can easily see why that you could understand why we would believe that Kim Caldwell knew something at the time. I mean, at the same time, I look at it as kind of a rough point in our schedule, right? We just lost a close one to Texas right before this game, and then it just goes downhill right after this game, right? So you kind of wonder, did Talasia Cooper and Kim Caldwell kind of get into something behind the scenes, and then she kind of told her, this is what's going on, and that's kind of caused the reaction from Kim Caldwell? Or just, I mean, I guess we won't actually know until Kim Caldwell and Talasia Cooper address it. But I mean, it's just, I think it's very, very reasonable for you to ask that question, obviously, when you see the video, definitely.
Look, Talasia Cooper is a great player. Enjoyed covering her, enjoyed watching her during her time at Tennessee. She's going to have a really good career at Ole Miss, and I'm sure she'll be in the WNBA here soon. She's a great player. No way around it. Won it straight at her. I think Coach Yo's a great coach. She's done it at multiple levels. She knows how to recruit. She's put Ole Miss on the map for women's basketball. Won it straight to her. I just asked a question. But I think I will say, and I'm not, and I didn't ask the question because I'm oblivious to what college athletics is, but I just wanted to know behind that specific moment. I understand tampering happens. I understand that many of these players in the men's and women's portal have been long in negotiations with these said teams that they're going to go to. Like, riddle me this. How does Colin Chandler end up at BYU after he entered the portal less than 24 hours ago? Colin Chandler hadn't officially committed yet, but that's where he's going to go. It's because,
he's from Utah, right, too?
He is. But, you know, these guys talk, and these guys have agents and representation that talk to the teams, and they get things in line. It's how it goes. I'm not oblivious to it. I just was trying to pinpoint why that interaction went down because, look, Kim Caldwell did a number of things that I disagree with last year and a number of things that you disagree with last year in terms of how she approached games, how she approached post-game press conferences, how she went about, you know, many of her rotations and such, all of it. I'm not defending Caldwell. I'm just asking a question. But
in my experience with people, when their first reaction is to say something like cope or, you know, post a 5-minute video, it means there's probably something there.
How about both?
Well, yeah. And maybe you should keep pressing a little bit.
No, it's not high enough on the totem pole for me. I didn't even address her. I just threw it out. She was the one that came at me about it. But I will say the Ole Miss fans have let me know how they feel about me raising that.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's okay. I don't take offense to it. If anything, I thought it was great publicity. Probably picked up a couple of followers from it.
I mean, you're not the only one that said something. You're not the only one.
No,
that
and
wrote
I was looking
something.
online. I was like, there are 100 people.
I mean,
that
yeah,
said this.
she just,
The Twitter algorithm's just working in your favor.
Oh, I know.
The portal's open.
What is it?
Don't worry about the portal.
A bunch of people were commenting. I've never heard the term, but I kind of like it. What is it? Hit dog haulers? Is that right? That
must be some Oxford thing.
No, I know. But it was Tennessee fans using it. Like
okay.
A hit, like if a dog gets hit and he starts hollering, I'll have to look it up. I kind of like the term though. It's good. All right, hour 2 coming up next. We'll continue on the men's side of things when we return. A couple of new on the radar targets I'll tell you about, and we'll also continue discussing everything else that Tennessee is involved with. There's also a notable player highly regarded in the transfer portal that I believe Tennessee is now out on and will be moving to another player here soon. We'll discuss that when we return. In hour number 2, stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox. Fox Sports Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com. At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Thursday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. Jackson Freeman, Will Palumbo, and Brett Hullander joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we continue to break down Tennessee in the transfer portal. If you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content. We also want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the portal right now? If you have a name, if you want to weigh in on a guy that we're mentioning, please do. We'll read off your comments and much more. A lot of people in the chat showing support for Kim Caldwell against Coach Yo. Very rare that Kim Caldwell gets some praise these days, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I had a couple of people, though, text me yesterday, Coach Yo, she's a clown, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into name calling and stuff, but I think she's a good coach. I don't think I would have tweeted out something like that. I just would have let it be. But again,
you got the player. You won, right? Yeah.
I know. One of my Mississippi State friends, he works over at Mississippi State. He had an opinion on it, too. I thought it was funny. But, all right, good stuff. Let's get into it. We'll continue our Tennessee men's portal board. And in hour number 1, I told you the new visitors, Miles Rubin, a center out of Loyola Chicago, Day Ames, a guard out of California, the connecting piece, Amaro Morgan, Tennessee assistant, both recruited Rubin out of high school and Ames out of the portal last year. So there's a nice connection there. Both those guys will be on campus this weekend. The priority targets still have Thomas Dowd and Najee Hines on the list. Juke Harris, I told you there's a bit of a bidding war that is now ensuing between a multitude of teams, including Tennessee. But there is also a guy that I have now dropped out of my priority target list and into the likely out of the mix tier, and that is going to be forward Bryson Tiller out of Kansas. Now, Tiller was a top 100 recruit that signed with Kansas in last year's class, was a part of that very strong group for the Jayhawks that included Darren Peterson, and he is now looking for a new home, is Tiller, but I do not figure it will be in Knoxville next year, despite starting in 31 of the team's 35 games in the front court alongside Flory Badunga, who is another highly coveted transfer in this portal class. Tiller averaged 7.9 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks in just over 25 minutes a game last season. He also finished top 20 in the Big 12 in total rebounds, total blocks, and block percentage. But from talking to people last night, I believe that Tiller is headed in a different direction and is looking at other schools not named Tennessee. So I put him in the likely out of the mix category. But as the portal process always goes, it's very fluid. So he could maybe get back involved with Tennessee if the Vols decide to get aggressive there. But with Miles Rubin coming to campus this weekend, I anticipate Tiller to
Kansas fans I was reading didn't really take too much to Bryson Tiller. I don't know if you saw some of the discourse on him running around yesterday.
Well, I think they've got two guys, and I think Badunga is a little bit of a bigger deal to them. Now, Badunga was originally given a crystal ball to Texas Tech, but it seems he's going to be headed in a different direction there as well.
Yeah.
But Tiller, not a guy that I anticipate paying for Tennessee. How big of a deal is that, Will, not having Tiller still in the mix? Do you like Rubin enough to be able to overcome the loss of Tiller, or is this Tennessee being a little cheap and losing out on a potential big player?
Well, it sucked, obviously, losing interest in Tiller, I'd say, or losing hope for him. But obviously when you add a guy like Miles Rubin in the mix, you kind of boost your spirits almost back up. I think, although, Tiller didn't have the greatest season, but he proved himself at a great university, and he started 31 games there, right? So that's obviously a big loss. But when you look at Miles Rubin, I think you could easily say he's a replaceable Felix Okpara. So I think it still gives you hope that he can come in and do the job that we need him to. But obviously losing a big name like Tiller, who has that experience, is tough to see.
Brett, to you, no Bryson Tiller. I know it's a big name. He's got a lot of praise coming out of the portal, highly recruited in terms of the rankings. Is that a loss for Tennessee? Is that getting cheap, or is that maybe, finding some value in a guy like Rubin?
I think it's finding value. And like I said, reading some of the stuff on Tiller, just on some message boards and X and things, I mean, they're happy to see him go, if he's that kind of problem for Kansas and, you're losing Big Dunga, you'd think you'd fight a little harder if you're Kansas to keep a guy that was pretty important, I would think, had some big moments and stuff like that for Kansas, and clearly as very talented to be recruited and play at Kansas. You've got to be able to play basketball. So, after seeing all that, and, I think you can find diamonds in the rough. If you're 6'10", 6'11", you can coach them up, and, numbers are their numbers. But yeah, I mean, I think this Rubin guy, I think I'm starting to kind of like the idea of maybe bringing him in, and then, if you can get him on board, then you see what the money is and kind of build off from there. So I think I would like Rubin, I think, a little bit more than Tiller after reading what I have on the two guys.
Okay, good stuff. We'll pivot now to the on-the-radar targets. Now, again, these are not the players that Tennessee is necessarily coveting the highest out of everyone on the board, but still on the radar as they go through the portal process. And I will note there are about 3 or 4 names that are not included on this list just due to the staff asking to keep things pretty tight-knit and not out in the open. But the names I do have a new addition today, and that's Preston Edmeade out of Hofstra, 6'1" guard who started all 34 games and averaged 15.9 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 4.4 assists per game for the Pride this season. He's from Deer Park, New York, and was named the CAA Rookie of the Year and CAA Championship Most Outstanding Player, in addition to being a second-team All-CAA selection and CAA All-Rookie Team selection this past year. And Edmeade ranked second on the team in points and assists, led the team with 90 three-pointers, and scored in double figures 28 times. And he put up 24 points up against the Crimson Tide in the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament just a couple of weeks ago. So I know he's a Hofstra player, but he's already shown he can fill it up against one of the better teams in the conference in Alabama. So an intriguing name, and I anticipate Preston Edmeade would be a guy that Tennessee adds to try and get a 6, 7, 8-man rotation. Don't anticipate him being a starter, but a freshman that started 34 games and put up 24 against the Crimson Tide about 3 weeks ago in a tournament setting, I think is a pretty strong candidate if Tennessee were to fully pursue him. And he also is decorated in terms of his credentials. Rookie of the Year, most outstanding player, second team all CAA selection, all rookie team selection. Preston Edmeade, good name to know. We'll continue to go down the list, and once again, not everyone is directly firmly in the mix, but Joel Foxwell for Portland still on the radar for Tennessee. 15.6 points, 4.3 rebounds, 6.5 assists this season for Portland, and the latter of which was the 14th best number in Division I basketball. The Australia native shot 39.3% from the field and 32% from downtown. Began his career playing in Australia in the NBL before heading over to the United States this past year to play for the Pilots out of the West Coast Conference. But his brother Owen recently committed to Wisconsin. However, he did not list Wisconsin as a team that has been in the mix for him either. So that makes me think that Tennessee could still possibly consider him a portal target or a portal radar player. But Foxwell, a guy that performed really well against Gonzaga and the Pilots' upset win over the Bulldogs back in, I believe, early February. Still one of the craziest upsets of the season. the fact that pitiful Pilots team knocked off Gonzaga. But we'll continue to go down the list. Emmett Adair out of Loyola, Maryland, 6'9", also an Australian native, 14.6 points and a team-high 5.4 rebounds per game while shooting 46.6% from the field in 27 outings, was an All-Patriot League third-team member and a Patriot League All-Rookie member this past year. And then Matt Mobile from South Georgia Technical College, a JUCO school. Not a guy that, I anticipate being a portal commitment anytime soon. It'd be more of a late roster addition to add some depth. But he's 6'11", led the nation in average rebounds per game for most of the season in the JUCO realm, and he's from Cameroon, averaged 12.3 rebounds per game this season in 28 outings. So, and you go watch his tape, by the way. I know it's JUCO basketball, but he looks like a man amongst boys. He physically is fit at 6'11" and over 200 pounds. A strong player at that JUCO level, but again, just a kind of a radar target for Tennessee. Now, there are a couple of other names out there, again, hoping to get that cleared as we move into the weekend. But for the time being, those are the radar players I can tell you about. And Preston Edmeade, the only new addition, and Colby Garland as well. Colby Garland out of San Jose State. We mentioned him yesterday as well. He's still considered a radar guy. He averaged 20 a night for the Spartans, and he began his career at Drake, transferred to Longwood, and played at San Jose State this past year. But another guard that is really talented, gifted scorer, could come off the bench in a 6, 7, 8 man, 9 man rotation. But I will say, with Troy Henderson returning, I wonder how many backup guards Tennessee is looking at, because Henderson anticipating to be one of those guys. But Preston Edmeade, the new name today. Any thoughts on him and a potential spot on this team, Will?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think he would be a great rotational piece to this team, right? I mean, he really proved himself. He had a lot great end of the season. I mean, putting 24 up against Alabama is definitely something you like to see. But I look at it as something that we've been missing drastically in our offense this past year. His three-point shooting is great, and he can hit his free throws as well. So I think that's two key aspects that really would benefit the offensive side of our team. We know Rick Barnes is going to lock down on the defense and get us physical on that end of the floor, but you really need to see some offense. I mean, the past couple of years, it's definitely been your struggle in the way you've gone out of the tournament, right? Houston blew us out of the water, and then Michigan did it again this year. So both bad offensive performances from us in those games. So if you could find a guy that could come in and hit a couple threes and make some clutch free throws, it's exactly what you want to see.
Hofstra's put out a couple of guys over the last couple of years that have been pretty good. What was the Griffin kid? I believe it might have been, I think it was Griffin from Alabama 2 years ago. Rylan Griffin. Does that sound right? Rylan Griffin?
That sounds right, because then he transferred again, right? Didn't
he transferred
to
again.
Kansas, right? Or somewhere?
Let me double check. But I know they had a Hofstra player. But again, just because they're from a smaller school doesn't mean they can't play. So I know some of these portal radar guys are not as fun as a Juke Harris or a Najee Hines or a Thomas Dow. But some of these guys can be really valuable, and you can get them for cheap, and they can end up being really big players. And that's why I think, again, they're looking at Miles Rubin, because you look at Rubin's metrics, very similar to a Flore Badunga, who is one of the top players in the portal. That's saving cash and allowing you to expand your roster and assets in the best way. Badunga's like a $4 million player.
The only difference is the guy played at Kansas, one played at
Loyola. No, and I totally
Chicoya.
understand.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. But again,
I didn't see anything different that this can't do that Badunga. I mean, just because he played at a higher level, you have more confidence in that. If you can tell me I can get this guy for $3 million less, and do the same exact things, then, $5 million, I'm expecting 20 and 10 from Badunga in like 3 blocks a game, So just like if Estrella was still here for 3, I expect him to increase from his 10 and 5 that he did this year. Like, you got to go up like 5-6 points. Like, you got to be the focal point of the offense, if and not just a defensive stopper for $5 million.
Aaron Estrada, that's who I was thinking about.
Aaron Estrada
for Alabama. But Brett, to you, what do you make of a couple of these names, and do you feel like it is in the interest of Tennessee to be looking at some backup point guard roles or backup guard roles, despite not having a starting 5 at the moment?
Yeah, that's the part I'm struggling with right now, because, I mean, it is early, but again, the portal's going to be here and close pretty quickly. So you're getting a little frustrated because you're wondering about this on the radar. I'm wondering if our radar is working, but I mean, I just really want to fill out a starting five first. I feel like with the three freshmen, Dwayne Brown, Henderson back in the boat, like your bench is starting to fill in nicely. Like, yeah, you might need a piece here or there, but and maybe guys are telling us no, and I don't see behind the scenes. But, I mean, if you tell me this guy's here, a 6th, 7th man type, yeah, I'll go for it. But starting when your ultimate goal, and I think everybody's goal here is Final Four, none of these guys do it for me right now. So, but if you tell me you can get him from the cheap, he's fine coming off the bench doing a job, then I'm all for it. But yeah, my focus is on some of these top end talents that can get us over the hump, because right now, if you're telling me this guy's here, I'd rather, have paid Amari Evans,
Sure.
That's where I am on that. So, but I mean, 19 against Bama is nice, I guess. You know, but
well, here's the thing for me, and it's a reminder to everyone that the portal is very fluid. There are going to be days like last night, was talking with a couple of people. I was like, man, this is going to be tough for Tennessee.
Mhm.
And then, you wake up today, talk to a couple of people and okay, you feel a little bit better. It's just how this process goes. So there are going to be guys that are at the top of your list and you believe you're firmly in the mix for, that then drop off. And there are going to be guys that you don't really feel great about, and then you pop back up and you're, in good standing again. And I think it's important to go back to last year, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee's portal process was very public. A lot of people knew what they were doing. They're trying to go away from that. And I know I list out everyone they're looking at, but there are names that, aren't all the way out there. And I think they're trying to keep things close to the vest, because last year everyone got their hopes up. Okay, Isaac McNeely's coming in, Rodney Rice. Now you end up getting Jacoby Gillespie, but that's a home state kid.
But you had him right, like as soon as the portal opened.
Yeah,
like you knew it was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. But with Rice and McNeely, you had those guys on campus. You looked at a Fulgaris,
and then our
Robert
focus
Morris.
was also Nate Ament.
Yes,
through that whole process too.
Well,
those are rumors are going around too.
I'd say the Nate Ament process last year was really heightened after you lost Rice, Freeman, and McNeely. Because if you're able to get those guys, I believe they just would have settled without Ament and let him have gone to Duke. But they got a lot more competitive for Ament because you lost out on everyone else.
I think people are just worried because you literally have to have a whole new starting five. Last year, you're just plugging certain pieces in and things like that. You had a lot of depth coming back. This year, I guess you just feel confident in what's out there and what you've already been having conversations with, where you're like, okay, Australia, you can walk. Okay, Amari Evans, you can walk, and things like that. But, it's not desperate time, obviously, but, there's only 13, 12 more days left of this thing.
Yeah, but even if you don't lock these guys in for a commitment in that time period, they're
in the portal. They can sign. Yeah.
So my advice is just to everyone, not just you, not just anyone on the panel, just everyone. You got to be patient. It's going to go up and down. You're going to maybe see someone on Twitter say this or that. It could change at any moment. And, that's why when we discuss it, I try to, keep a level head of not getting too excited, not getting too down, unless I feel pretty confident, like a Bryson Tiller. I don't think that's a guy that Tennessee's going to land. But it's very fluid. So just got to keep that in mind. But for some of these under the radar guys, you keep them in your mind, you keep them around, because if you miss on guy A, guy B, guy C that you had towards the top of your board, you're going to have to pivot and adjust. And sometimes finding these kids out of Hofstra or a Portland or a Loyola, Maryland can go a long way. And we've already seen Rick Barnes have a lot of success with guys like this before, guys that come from a smaller school and are able to come in and make a big impact. Now you might be saying, Darlin Stone Dubar was a Hofstra kid. He didn't play that well. Well, there's also the Chaz Laniers and there's the Don Connects of the world too on the other side of the coin. So the portal's hit or miss, but
the portal's just not as good either this year.
I agree. We talked about it yesterday.
Which is unfortunate too, that we're in this position and portal's 100 times stronger than last year. I mean, you're telling me this Badunga guy is number one in the portal. Like, that's not telling me much. He's a good. I feel like he's a really good role player. Like, I don't see him unless I'm wrong. I mean, do you guys see that in him and some of these other guys that are top of this portal boards? Maybe that's maybe that's part of the problem too.
Well, I think right now, Tyler Lundblade's a starter. Rubin would be a starter. Ames would be a starting 2. You need to find a 4 or a 5, depending on what you want to do with Rubin. And then you got to find a point guard. But, I think continuing to find like a guy at each position, you're kind of knocking off a checkbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Juke Harris is going to be like one of those wild card guys. Like if I look at Juke Harris as a big ticket item. I think if Tennessee wants to win a national championship, you got to get one big ticket item. If it's not Juke, then right now, currently in the portal, I don't know where Tennessee pivots.
Yeah, but did you feel like we had a big ticket, like a couple of them on this year's team with Ament and Gillespie, and you weren't able to?
I thought you had a big ticket with Jacoby Gillespie.
Yeah,
but Nate Ament was a freshman. I look at the portal as big ticket guys because big ticket guys are ones that have already proven they could play at this level. Nate Ament could have been really bad, could have been really good. He ended up being a good asset, but.
Do you think a guy like Dowd is capable of starting at the 4?
Yeah, I think Dowd would be your starting 4 if he were to come. And I think that would be Rubin, Dowd, Lundblade, Ames, and then you got to go get a starting guard. But I think that's a solid group, depending on who that guard is.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to discuss anything R.J. West or Richard G. West put out yesterday.
That was.
Until Tyler Tanner is in the portal, I'm not going to discuss it. Great question on the YouTube chat. We'll hit it here in a second, but Matthew in Dallas is on the line. Now firmly back in Dallas. Put it in bold. Matthew in Dallas bolded. What's up?
I was just thinking, Brett, I almost wonder to that point, you said, the portal's not as good as it is like last year. Should we start to evaluate the portal the year after where they've landed? Because right now it's just all a matter of hype and where we land these kids. Obviously, we're excited about Tyler Lundblade, but if he comes in next season and plays like Justin Powell, you could make an argument that, man, we really whiffed in the portal. And so I almost wonder to that point, should we start to evaluate the portal the year after these guys have played under a season? Because it almost makes sense because, like, we can sit here and talk about the preseason rankings and the preseason hype for some of these kids, but until we've actually seen them mesh into the seasons like November, December, that's one thing. But once they actually get into conference play, that's when you really start to see these kids in action. And so that kind of brings me to my next question, and I'm sorry to go on that tangent there, but, basketball, you can do it in a smaller production, but I almost wonder as we talk about this, William, how much a general manager would help some of our coaches on staff, because you're talking about numbers, you're talking about roster management, and it almost, when I was listening to you talk about, the cap, I almost felt like I was listening to NFL talk because that's the nature of it in that sense, because I think Rick Barnes has been around the game where he probably doesn't need a general manager. He has done this a long time. But I do question whenever that time comes, when Rick Barnes hangs it up, how much a general manager could help that next coach. And I'll hang up with that thought. Take care, boys.
Yeah, great question here from Matthew in Dallas. I think it's a huge miss for Tennessee not having a GM. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, especially if they're a little bit more college sports from years past. They don't want to hear general manager being mentioned. But I think Tennessee needs it for football and basketball without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because you look across the country, the teams that are having success in the portal, they're ones that have really good general managers. Texas football has nailed it in the portal for multiple years. Brandon Harris, former LSU quarterback, is their general manager. They pay him $1 million to do that job, and they get every ounce of it. You thought Cam Coleman was fun? How about Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, all the other cats they got? A general manager goes a long way because he knows how to budget and he knows how to talk to a lot of these NIL agents. And it's difficult for coaches who are great at X's and O's. Rick Barnes is a great X's and O's coach. Gets these guys ready to go defensively. It has an impact on their lives outside of basketball. I'm not debating any of that. I think he's great at it. But Rick Barnes also does not have that much experience in negotiating with, player A's uncle who wants to represent him in the NIL world. But you go get GMs that do. You give them a budget, say this is how much we're going to work with, and you go find us the best team and bring it. We'll tell you the guys we're interested in, and we'll talk numbers from there. I think a general manager is a must for Tennessee. I'm surprised as much of a trailblazer as Danny White is in terms of putting Pilot on Neyland Stadium and doing the Neyland District and renaming foods, Thompson Bowling Arena to Food City Center, doing all these things that add more money to those respective programs and venues. I'm surprised he's never done a GM, because that's more of a new move from a lot of teams across the country. I'm surprised he hadn't done it.
It takes some power away from him. So I'm not surprised that we have yet to have a general manager. And I think it would also maybe transition away from what he's been trying to push as Tennessee is this everything school. I think if you get a general manager, he or she might not be willing to give all of these different programs that don't financially break even at the end of the fiscal year all this money. They might want to just focus on your women's basketball, men's basketball, and football, because those are. And women's basketball doesn't make money at every school in the country, but I'm pretty sure it does at Tennessee.
I think it's either a small loss or a small plus, but it's not groundbreaking.
But those are baseball is a recent thing, but come on, there's not very many Tennessee fans that can give me a long list of baseball history on campus, because you weren't interested in it up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
there are 3 programs on campus that really deserve the attention that you get in modern day sports. And I think a general manager would kind of make that happen and not give. And I don't think Danny wants that to happen, because in his eyes, Tennessee is this everything school that, sure, you might not actually compete for a national champion, but did you know that Tennessee is the only school in the country that's had a top 10 team in 5 different sports in the same year? That's the kind of stuff he seems to care about. So I think that's why we haven't gotten a general manager.
I think it's a great debate for, some point down the road of, do you want to be the everything school, or do you want to be a team that wins national championships in a sport? I think that it is great to have a lot of teams on campus that are good: baseball, football, basketball, women's basketball, softball, the golf team. Golf's got a master's guy right now playing an amateur. That's great stuff. But I think a lot of people would rather have national championships at the expense of maybe 2 or 3 of those programs being really good. Will, to you, what do you make of the general manager topic proposed by Matthew in Dallas?
Yeah, so I wasn't familiar that even schools like Texas kind of had a GM, but that definitely proves why they've been so successful out of the portal recently. I kind of agree with both of you guys too. I think it would definitely be beneficial to the program, right? If you looked, I think coaches just have a lot on their plate already, and then once you add all this NIL stuff onto it, I think it's just too much to handle all that. You look at Coach K, Roy Williams, Jay Wright, they all got out when they could, right before this all started, right? Because it would have been too much for them, I think. So I think kind of adding a GM would kind of ease off Rick Barnes' plate, and kind of you get a guy that is familiar with the NIL landscape and is good with agents and all that, and I think it could definitely be beneficial to both our programs.
Brett, what about you? General managers, good idea for Tennessee athletics?
Yeah. So it says Barnes has a director of basketball operations. Is that different from a general manager?
Ops guy is different.
It's a girl that's been there since 2015, and she works. So I was just curious. I was just in Michigan. Their assistant basketball coach is also their general manager. So, it obviously wouldn't hurt to have somebody that's well versed in this kind of stuff. And, that I'm sure there's somebody on campus that all the sports teams work with as far as contracts and different things like that. Of course it wouldn't hurt to have somebody more involved in the NIL side of things, that's their primary focus and things like that, and can identify players, how much each guy's going to be, and different things like that, and work more closely with the finance side of things of basketball, especially in this day and age when the money's getting bigger and bigger and things like that. When you need Barnes focusing on individual players and current rosters and things like that. So yeah, I don't think it would hurt. I don't think it would hurt any of our teams to have somebody like that. So yeah, but there's zero talk of it, so it doesn't seem like they're in any urgency to do it.
Now, it looks like there are around, I'd say, 30 to 40 general managers across Power 4 basketball, I'd say. And basketball for Power 4, at least for me, also expands to like the Gonzagas, like teams that are in smaller conferences that are also considered power teams. But I think it would be a huge addition and something that would be of benefit for Tennessee because, again, Rick Barnes is a great X's and O's coach, but it's difficult to go into some of these negotiations when you're not really well versed in the NIL language per se. These agents with quotations, they're not real agents, but they're agents in terms of representing these cats for a couple of weeks to get their 10 to 25%. They've got their own way of navigating things, and if you don't have a guy that can take control of them and firmly, put the ship in the right direction, then things can get irky. And I think that's where Tennessee's fallen victim of in a couple of spots for both football and basketball. But when we come back, we'll continue reading your comments. I see one regarding a high school recruit that I'll point out. And Buck did not like my terminology of trailblazer. Trailblazer to me is a guy that kind of is like the start of something. No one was doing the Danny White stuff in terms of renaming Neyland Stadium or their venue. Like I'd say that's trailblazer stuff. I guess agree to disagree then. When we come back, we'll continue talking the portal. Stay right here. It's the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say it loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
Appreciate you hanging out with us on this fine Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. Great show so far. We appreciate you hanging out with us, especially if you're on that YouTube live stream. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content. And folks, this time of year, very important to do so. Make sure you're sticking around with all of our content and stick around for the drive coming up next in about 24 minutes. They'll take you the rest of the way on this Thursday. But reading some comments real quick as we continue to discuss the transfer portal for the Volunteers. David Speaks chiming in about Chris Washington Jr., a top 50 player out of high school, and saying that we're not going to get him and that they're going all portal. My understanding with Washington is that Tennessee still considers him an option out of the high school ranks in his recruiting process. He's had Tennessee amongst his top teams on his list for a good while now. But I think for Tennessee, it's kind of similar to Nate Ament last year. Nate Ament was a guy that Tennessee coveted even in the portal process, but it was not heightened until after the portal process was over. If Nate Ament decided to commit in March or early April last year, I believe he would have wound up at Duke. And I believe Tennessee would have let him go to Duke. But after missing on Rodney Rice, after missing on Isaac McNeely, after missing on a number of other players, Alvaro Forgueres, who was coming out of Robert Morris at the time, Elijah Freeman out of Auburn, Tennessee then pivoted and said, we got to go get a guy like Nate Ament because we need kind of a multi-dimensional scorer, a guy that can cause an issue. And Ament did this season, especially in SEC play, but that decision wasn't made until later on in the process. So for the high school recruits, specifically to Chris Washington Jr., your question on him, I would consider that being more of a down-the-road type of topic because right now they are going to focus on the portal, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're out on him long-term, as they could add him. They could add him to the list. Heupel's Razor, still one of the most unique names we've got on the list. Is Mustafa Thiam a target? And how are discussions going with Tyler Tanner? Well, Mustafa Thiam, in terms of a target, I do not have him on my board, and he's not one of the names that we've been told not to talk about. So I'll give you that. But in terms of Tyler Tanner, I've got nothing to discuss on that end unless he enters the portal. So, he's an incredible player for the Commodores and is likely going to test the NBA waters.
Does the name Jacob Walker, have you heard that?
Jacob Walker
He's out of Memphis.
Jacob Walker does ring a bell.
I think Sam Kaiser with Kaiser Hoops mentioned him as maybe somebody we've at least expressed interest with. He had him on his list of teams as well.
Yeah,
Sam Houston State.
Sam Walker, correct?
Jacob Walker. Sam
Walker.
Houston State.
Jacob Walker, yeah. Jacob Walker, he is out of Memphis. I believe we touched on him yesterday.
Okay,
and played for Sam Houston. He's an interesting player because he's a wing, but he's
small. He's like 6 feet.
He's kind of burly. He's a burly
yeah.
guy for a wing / guard player. But he's kind of on the radar. I'd throw him in the on the radar slot. I don't have him on there officially because I differentiate interest from, like team. Because some of these guys, I've seen a number of players said they have heard from Tennessee.
But it's a laundry list.
But that's like, me saying,
like the kid at VCU.
Yeah.
Like he had a laundry list. Terrence Hill, I think.
Yeah. That's like me going to the bar and talking to a girl for like 2 minutes and saying that she has interest. We talked for a couple of minutes. That, I mean, there's, anything going on there. So that's the way I look at it. A couple of these, even the Terrence Hill out of VCU.
Yeah.
If there is a moment where Tennessee gets closer in that recruiting process, I would throw him on the radar stuff. But
he feels like a guy after Juke. Like if Juke ends up somewhere else, right? Because Terrence Hill's a highly sought after player as well, not to the same level as Juke, but he's borderline top 15 in the portal or something like that as a guard. And I think, didn't he drop like 30 on Carolina in the tournament? Was that him off the bench?
I believe that's the other guard.
Oh, was it really?
I believe it was the other guard.
I'd have to look it up.
In terms of Terrence Hill, I'll have to look up specifically.
Hill came alive in the second half, though. He definitely had a great game, and he's the one that brought him to overtime.
Sorry, I thought it was their other guard. But yes, you're correct there, Brett. He had 34 against North Carolina, 17 against Illinois. But he's obviously a good player, 6'3". He's as you mentioned, kind of a Juke replacement. If you do miss out on him, 15 a night at 46.6% shooting. But he was an interestless guy, so that's why I didn't have him on my list for immediate targets. And then Heupel's Razor talking about Thiem out of Cincinnati, a 7'2" center. I don't have him on my list at this time, but if that changes, I'll let you know. But I do value Rubin right now as Tennessee's likely candidate to be their starting center. Thomas Dowd would be that 4 to look at. Now his recruiting process is fluid, like a lot of these guys. Anticipate another school in the state of Alabama to be coveting him as well. He's a Dothan native, but I do like Terrence Hill Jr., but I don't have him on my immediate list right now. Cody Peak was another guy, says David Speaks. Cody Peak. Do we know Cody Peak? Any of you guys know Cody Peak? Cody Peak is a hiking trail.
Cody Peak? No.
Cody Peak was another guy. He might be referring to something else. But Buck says Trailblazers, someone or somebody that does something for the good of the people. I don't think there's a single thing that Danny White has done that most of the fan base wants or has wanted, says Buck. So
agreed.
I would agree with most of it. I mean, I think he has done some things that I truly think the game day environment you get at Neyland Stadium is truly one of a kind. And he has a big part in that, just the experience aspect of it, where it's like you go to Neyland Stadium for a football game, but 3 to 4 hours before, you're doing activities that are not sitting in the stands. And I think that does speak volumes to the type of game day environment you get. But I understand the people that push back on Danny White. Maybe I was ill-worded in choosing Trailblazer. But outside of that, I think those are our portal guys. I don't have any more questions on here.
Just to go,
okay, Peak is also another top high school center, 6'10". I'm sorry, just seeing that.
You said before the Paldo twins went somewhere, right? To go back to Lady Vols. Not official?
Not official.
Okay.
Not official.
Okay.
But eyeing a recruitment and maybe a decision here soon for them. Also eyeing a Bishop Boswell as well, but don't have those official yet. But I think we got Roberto on the phone, so we'll head to him real quick. Roberto, what's up?
Hey, I don't want to talk about baseball, and I don't want to talk about basketball, and I don't want to talk about women's basketball. I actually want to talk about something that makes me happy.
Masters?
So, the Masters. Yeah.
There you go.
What do you got?
Let's hear it.
Oh, man. Sam Burns, we know he's going to implode, right?
Yes,
so go ahead and bet against him. The thing that's surprising me is how many of the very good players are playing very well today.
That's the best part of this day right now.
The best part of the day?
Yeah, the better players.
The best part of today is the fact that it exists. It's the first day of the Masters, but no, I'd say the one that surprised me is that Rory's playing so well. He looks really good with the putter, and that spells a whole lot of heartache for a lot of other people. The one that also popped, I guess, would be Patrick Reed. He's been away from serious competition for a good while, and the fact that he went like par, eagle, birdie, eagle on the first 4 of the first 8 holes or whatever. Maybe he did have a bogey thrown in there, but he was like -5 on the front.
Yeah, 2 eagles in the first 8 holes.
Did he eagle 8? I know he eagled 2. Did he eagle 8 as well?
Did,
yeah,
2 and 8.
Yeah.
So,
but he bogeyed 15.
He looks really good. So the thing that's standing out is how many of the past champions are playing so well, and how this course isn't devouring them, but is devouring the guys who don't play particularly well. Not also known as Sam Burns, who I don't think will be there. I think he probably got him a good pairing, and he felt good about everything. But Rory, Scotty playing great. Rahm looks okay.
Wow, he's sucking actually.
Is he? Well, he looked okay when I was watching.
3 over through 6.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Rory
DeChambeau's 3 over through 15.
Yeah. Rory's 3 under.
DeChambeau had a triple.
He did. Yep, he did.
Did you hear the thing they were kicking around on the telecast? I know you guys have been on air, and they just said it a few minutes ago. They did some research. No player has ever won the Masters that had a triple in any round ever.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, so that pretty much,
You would think you'd be able to get those back occasionally through the tournament with all the reachable par 5s, so that's kind of a surprising stat.
And a reachable par 4. Number 3 is pretty reachable, right?
Oh, yeah.
3 I'm thinking of.
Scotty just drove it, yeah.
Did he eagle that? Did he make that eagle putt? I had to leave.
He birdied. He's 3 under through 4, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's probably, obviously he's the odds-on favorite, but you know who really wins the first day of the Masters? Is all of us, the patrons, at home and or at the course. It is the most beautiful and wonderful thing in the world.
We started our show by talking about how ridiculous it was. They have like Jason Kelsey and Kevin Hart at the par 3.
Talking about the par 3?
Like, that's intimate, right? That's family. That's like to have those two.
Yeah,
guys.
that was odd.
I thought and the wrestler guy, the Miz, is that his name, was on there today doing coverage. Like, what are we doing with this tournament? It's not about these celebrity guys.
I try to think about, the great sporting events in the world, right?
Yeah.
That's on everybody's, the Indy 500, the Kentucky Derby, the Masters. Maybe if you're a really big golf head, you're wearing your North Troon shirt like I am today, and you're a British Open guy too, or the Open Championship as some of us call it. But I can say this: all those celebrities show up for those things, but those are, you have money and you can go.
Yeah.
The Masters seems to be, it's kind of for the every fan, if you will, like just normies go typically, or people that have had the tickets in their family. There's a family in Knoxville that I know personally that have had tickets to the Masters like 50 years.
Wow.
And they go every year, right? They're not on the I hope to win the lottery list. But the thing that really pissed me off about that yesterday is they kind of made a fool of they made a spectacle of the thing. And I think I like your word intimate. It's supposed to be.
They're out there with their kids and wives, and you got Kevin Hart running around with Bryson DeChambeau.
I've been accused of being a pompous a-hole this week, so I'll just say it this way. Have any of you actually been to Augusta National?
No.
I've not.
No.
Okay. So I have, and I'll tell you this. If you raise your voice to the level that I'm even talking to you guys, you're going to have somebody come over to you and be like, hey, man, sir or ma'am, this is Augusta National. We comport ourselves as such, basically. Then they have him trot out there with a bag of sandwiches and plopping down in the middle of all the patrons who, by the way, got crappy views because of that.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Yes, you triggered me there.
I've also seen quite a few pictures of people at the Masters, which I know photography is really prohibited there. So,
forgive me. Do you mean today?
It was yesterday.
Actually, it's not prohibited on practice days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have your cell phone and or a camera on practice days, I think. I know Maggie did when we went. But
Roberto, we're up against.
Oh yeah, well I'll leave you with this. I know you're not allowed to ever have your phones during rounds, so I'll leave you with that. Guys, have a great day. It'd be better if Tiger and Phil were there.
I agree with that. Roberto, we appreciate you calling in. We'll come back and wrap things up. Set right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life account, offering extra benefits, including bank travel. Experience the trip of a lifetime to Ireland. Explore rolling green hills, historic castles, and charming villages across the Emerald Isle. Get in on the fun. Call 865-429-7935 today.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
The voluntary reaction.
Can't get enough Tennessee basketball? Join Fan Run Radio as soon as every UT game is over for Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all. The voluntary reaction. We'll be taking your calls on the Vols as soon as every game is over. So tune in and buckle up as we drink from the keg of glory all the way to the Final Four.
The voluntary reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
to 3 right here on Fan Run Radio, our final portal breakdown of the week, getting you ready for the weekend with some visitors coming to town. Hope to share some new names as well. That's going to wrap it up for a Thursday edition of the Playbook. For Jackson Freeman, Will Palumbo, and Brett Hullander, I'm William Pattison. Coming up next, it's The Drive.